Alright, so I got a few minutes to get away with. Co-pilot's out there pre-flighting. We've got about an hour left. Everything's done. Weather's checked. And waiting on passengers. So I'll give a little update on the CRKT Pilar that still playing with. Still want a button on it just for fun. And still trying to get the action on the flipper to go well. And it's just been giving me trouble. Get everything out here. So I went as far as to buy, where's my other one over here? Yeah, there we go. I went as far as to buy a second one, a little Jade from Blade HQ exclusive, to use as parts, to use as testing, see if the detent was better, put the other blade in it, and just keep kind of playing around with it, learning a little bit, seeing what I can do by machining. So right now, the flipper, it's okay, the detent is just not strong. So I think I might drill that out and put my own little detent in there. But in the meantime, I have done a little milling. Let's see how readily I can do this here. Find my T6 right here. Knock these bad boys out. That one, don't roll downhill, and then the actual screw. So in playing around with all kinds of little adjustments, you see I've pretty much ruined the back spacer trying to get play around with the fit and trying to find a way to get a good enough detent off of it. So everything's kind of falling apart, but I have added ball bearings. So I milled out the channel with the drill press and a 10mm end mill, just using the drill press and clamping this down really well. And it did pretty decent. I had to fine tune the fitment, and it took a while. Now the last time I went a bit far, so what I'm doing here is I want to add the nylon washer. And so I just want to add this other nylon washer under the ball bearing and see if the fit's a little bit better, because it's still riding a little bit to one side. And like I said, we want that detent crisper. Before I move on to cutting everything apart and working on the button, I want this detent to be nice and crisp. So let's put this on. Let's grab, without losing everything here, this lock bar, and then go ahead and put the spacer on, and now that. Throw the T8 back in. Put it up on here. It's kind of loud in here, all the fans are going, so get that together. Let's throw the back spacer back in. And like I said, you can see how far I ground it down because I had the knife adjusted way back trying to find a good spot to detent for the detent, and it just didn't give me what I want. But it's not made for it, and that's the challenge, right? Try to figure out how to make it work just because I want to. It's not the easiest way, but it's a fun way. So let's throw this on here, tighten it just a hair. and then get this last one in. So I like to put them in on the same side so I always know which way they're going to fall out, because I am taking it apart quite often. There we go. And the final screw here. And snug those in. There we go. And this last one comes in there. And we'll throw the T8 back in and snug up the pivot and see how we did. You see how far the lock bar comes in. That's because the blade is quite a bit narrower from all the sanding, and I did do a first round of polish on it. I'll probably, once I get everything finalized, I'm going to polish it all the way through. But in doing so, the bottom of the stop is worn, so it goes in. But let's see, same thing. I'm not going to adjust it with a little Loctite. I'm not going to use any Loctite in here, of course, but this is just, there we go. Sometimes it'll fit, but it is has just some ceramic 5.1 millimeter ceramic bearings on it. I'll play around with adjustment when I have more time, a little more room, but I just wanted to kind of give a little update. I'm still working on it. I'm still playing around. It's got a little flipper tab, and I filed it, so it's got a pretty decent grab. And just got to work on that detent. I think if I can get a good detent, I can get it to flip nicely, then throw a button in and have something to play around with, and I don't know, use. Anyway, that is where this one's at.